There we go. We're live on Facebook. Good
Good.
evening, everybody. I'm Jan Carmanico Reeves, and I'm on a mission to make real estate investing fun, easy, and profitable. As a matter of fact, I have a very fun, easy, and profitable deal right now. I've got one spot left. If anybody's interested, send me a DM after. So I'm super excited. Tonight we have Iouliia joining us, the real estate investor focused accountant. And I don't know who has more fun, me or her. Welcome, 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 Iouliia. Always great to be around you. And let's get
Thank
started.
you.
Introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about you and what you do.
Yeah, so thank you very much, Jen, for having me here. It's always
Left
a
if
pleasure
anybody's
to.
interested.
Yeah, so hello? Oh,
Oh,
sorry.
sorry. I was just trying to share it onto
Oh,
Motivational Mondays there.
okay. So it's always nice to be around, my minded people and just share and talk and chat and whatever. Like I like people, so I like to be around. I like to talk. So there you go. Yeah, so like you said, I am the real estate investor focused accountant, and I'm trying you guys to get to your financial freedom faster, whatever it could be, your financial freedom, right? So I own my own accounting firm. I'm a CPA, obviously, and I'm located in Ottawa, but I kind of serve all my clients all over Canada because we work remotely. And I'm a real estate investor as well. So kind of having two businesses, juggling two businesses and the family, right? So that's what I do. Yeah, so uh,
Okay, so how did you initially get into being an accountant? How did all that come about?
oh wow, okay. Um, okay, going back, I grew up in Russia. So I'm from Russia, and it's a communist country, right? So growing up in communist country back in like 70s, 80s, nobody talks about money, right? In fact, we didn't we couldn't invest or save money, right? So everybody were kind of equal. There was no businesses to run. It was like, okay, you get your job, you leave from paycheck to paycheck. Basically, like that was the reality. And even the like entrepreneur or entrepreneurship were not even the words in our vocabulary. And In fact, if you like wanted maybe to like sell something for profit, make a profit on something, you could have ending up in a jail for speculation. So that was how it felt to be in this, country when I was growing up as a child. And so 30 years ago, when I came to Canada, I knew I want to change that relationship with money, right? Like I want to be able to talk about money. I wanted to be able to run my business and stuff like that. And I I said, okay, well, what can I do to be more like, will be more better relationship with the money. Don't be afraid to talk about it. I was like, well, you know what? I always loved the math, like at school. Like I was so not that I didn't love it, but it was so easy for me. I really thinking logically. And I said, well, I want to become an accountant. So and as an accountant now, like it's easy for me to talk about money. I have clients who's a little bit like being like in my shoes, kind of like they are in my shoes. Like I used to be like what I used to be, like it's just kind of like, well, we don't talk about money in our family. So now we have businesses and we kind of feel ashamed a bit, So I'm helping them to kind of step out from that zone and be able to run their business and be able to freely understand and talk about the issues, challenges, and don't wait like till last minute when it's too late. So yeah, so that's how like I kind of make this decision to be an accountant. And then like, of course, like if you want to be an accountant, like, well, yes, you go university, but then you need to have your CPA. So I decided to get my CPA designation. So that's like accounting, well, career. That's how my accounting career started.
Okay. Okay. Now, another question. What
Yeah.
came first? Were you an accountant for real estate investors, or did you become a real estate investor first, which led to you being an accountant for real estate investors?
Um, well, I think, well, I became an accountant first, right?
Yes.
So I got my CPA in 2005, so you can do the math, that's how old I am. Right? So it's been like, well, almost 20 years. And I work in like, before I even opened my own business, I work in, different industries. But to decide to be a real estate investor just happened kind of interesting and unexpectedly for me. And yeah, so only like, well, we're in 2014, so 2017. So I have
Okay.
another story if you want to hear about
Yeah,
that.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, so I didn't want to be in real estate investor. I mean, I didn't want to have toilets and tenants, all that, like, because that's what people usually hear when they're saying, do you want to go in real estate, right? So,
Right.
but my husband is very visionary. He's always has crazy ideas. Let's do this, let's do that. And he's like, okay, we have to, maybe even take our house when we were originally and try to rent it.
Oh,
And
so
I'm
it
like,
was your
whoa.
husband initially.
Yeah. So like,
Oh,
he wanted to. And I'm
interesting.
like,
Okay.
a long, long time ago. Like, I don't remember when. I mean, we used to live, like, our first house we bought, it was like in 2002, I think, or whatever. It was like a small terrace home. And when we were moving from that house to another one, he's like, said, let's just rent that one. I was like, oh, no, like, no, 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 no. It's too much responsibility. Like, I mean, no, I cannot deal with that. I was kind of like, and I think, you know what? And I think it's because growing up again, like going back, it's all coming from your when you're a child, right? Like, I mean, we we used to kind of live uh three generations together, right? So like grandparents, parents, and the children, they were all kind of in the same apartment, not even like the same house, apartment, right? So the space was small, but it was kind of normal. We couldn't even, like, I'm thinking about now of this right now, we couldn't even rent the place. Like, like we were have to kind of like whatever my parents had as an apartment. I knew if I'm going to get married, we either going to live in our like has my in-laws, or we're going to live with my parents, right? And then we're going to have a children, and that's how it is. So like thinking about, oh, you can rent, you can buy, you can like invest and have like real estate investing business, it was like, oh, like that's just not something that I was born with, right? Like, so I'm like, okay, well, so maybe that's why I was like, I don't know, like, is that a good idea or bad idea? And then he at one time he said, you know what, Iouliia, like I just bought, like I sign up for this conference, seminar, whatever, boot camp. It's like 3 days. We'll go there. I tried last year, you didn't let me. This time, like, you want it, you don't want it. I already paid everything. We're going. And I'm like, oh gosh. And he's like, I'm like, okay, but he said, okay, make sure you have your open mind, please. Just listen. I mean, you're a smart girl, I know. Just listen, tell me what you think, like maybe, and then we're gonna make a decision from there. I was like, oh gosh, okay, whatever, like, So we went, and it was 2017, and it was a Keyspire seminar boot camp, and the speaker was Alfonso. And you know what? Listening of also for 3 days, yeah, I'm like, okay, where do I sign up? Like, just give me the contract, like whatever. So yeah, so that's how. But I mean, the information we got, I was like mind blowing, right? Like, I mean, because I didn't have any friends, no family, nobody at that time who could like tell me, like, from real estate, from this world, and who can actually share the information. So for what I find out in that 3 days, I was like, oh my god, you can do
Right?
that, yeah. So Yeah, and so that's how it's all started. And we started very kind of slow a bit, like, having like just single or condo, like single home or condominium. Then we just said, okay, want to have more cash flow. So we went more for duplexes. So right now we even still have that. Like we have student rentals, duplexes, and it's very interesting experience
Yes,
because
I have a student rental as well.
yeah, okay, well, that, right? Like it's not
Hmm.
just like, oh, okay, well, because we used to rent to just the families, right? And
Right.
we all know how it is. But a student rental is interesting because it's just interactions. We're still doing our property management ourselves. And in interactions, it's like on a
Having
daily
more
basis.
children. Right?
Oh yeah, on a daily basis, sometimes
Yeah.
I'm surprised, yeah, what I hear. And like and actually I said, what I said, one day when I have time, I don't know when it's going to be, because I'm not planning to retire. I love what I do. I'm going to write a book about all my story that I had with my student rentals tenant. That's how, I mean, it sounds funny maybe, but it was like, oh, it's not for a faint of heart. Like,
No.
it's hard. Well, it is, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, and we're trying to get to multifamily. So we're we were looking for Alberta, Ontario, just like, yeah, and we do passively too. So I have some passive investments that we've been doing for a few years now. So ultimately, like, I think that's where we want to be, right? Like, just
Right.
invest
Right.
passively, no toilet, no tenants, just be
No
on the beach,
students.
like you said, on the beach with pina colada.
Yeah.
Although, like,
Absolutely.
I don't know, I love my accounting business, so I guess I could be maybe like less involved, but still doing it even on the beach.
Absolutely, because that's
Yeah,
that's the beautiful thing about your business is you can do it from a beach, right?
yeah,
And you can yeah, if you're investing passively, which we should talk about if you want to get in my deal. Right? That you can do it from a beach. It's
yeah,
wonderful.
yeah.
Your
So
money
that's
makes
that.
money for you while you're sipping a pina colada or something.
I know. So go
Yeah.
back to your pina colada. I always think about you like every time it's like pina colada for some reason, like you're like
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
a beach. I think that's what you're trying to get.
Absolutely, and that's what I'm trying to help people
Yeah,
do, right? Is
yeah,
be on a
yeah.
beach, sipping a pina colada and and making money while while they're sitting
I
there
know.
relaxing. Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely.
So love
So,
traveling. So anyway, so
yes,
that's
yes,
more
and I
maybe not a beach for me. It's not even the beach. Maybe I just gonna go
just
sightseeing
yes,
somewhere
yes,
and
and
be close
yes, I just use that analogy of the beach. It's
with the wine,
relaxing and
not pina
yes,
colada, but
could be
that's okay.
Europe, could be Alaska, could be anywhere, right? But yeah,
Yeah.
just time freedom, I guess,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's what we're
Mhm.
all looking for. Yeah. Yeah. So tell me about what are some of the challenges that real estate investors have when it comes to accounting and how do you help them?
Well, you know what? I don't know if I would say that biggest challenge is just you have to do your accounting. You have to do your tax. Just have to do it. And because people usually don't like to do it unless you're like, freak like me, CPA or something like crazy person, like, like, oh, so yeah, but generally speaking, like you probably know from yourself, like I don't know, but I mean, generally speaking, people prefer to do the business, the real estate investing, acquisitions, whatever they do, and don't take care of like a paperwork, filing taxes, thinking about what we have to restructure, what we have to do, right? So it's just to get them to think about it at the right time and let them actually do it, right?
Right. Right.
So I think that's the big challenge because lots of people coming too late. And you know how is it like a tax planning? And if you have a goal, if you come to me at the end of this at the end of the year, at the end of your goal, at the end of your project, it might be too late, right? We can, well, everything is fixable, but it's going to
Yes.
cost you stress, time, money. And so just avoid that, avoid all the stress and extra money, like, save your money, save your on taxes, everything. We just saying, okay, maybe just you have to do it first, like, have a conversation. Yeah, so I would say this is the biggest challenge. People just procrastinate a little bit. And then again, it's coming back to this fact that, well, some people don't like to talk about money. And when I'm saying money, meaning not like, oh, doing the budgets or like talking about my debts, but I'm just talking about generally speaking, like a business, you're know where you are, looking at your financial statements, know how to read them, know where you're going, know how much taxes you're going to pay, how you can minimize that, so stuff like that. So that's what we're there to help people with. We do like organizations, some of the organization side, we do bookkeeping as well. So it's not just like kind of accounting, like, tax planning or like just doing taxes or stuff like that, or structuring something. It's also like the first step, like, the bookkeeping before you came to like before you go to your accountant. So we my firm does that as well.
You do that as well. Okay.
Yeah, so I think that's the biggest one challenge, basically.
Yeah. And I think another really important thing that accountant does for real estate investors is making sure that you set up your structure properly, right?
Yeah,
Right? Like
yeah,
especially as
yeah.
you're going to scale.
Yeah, so that's it. Because sometimes some people say, "Oh, I didn't know I have to do that. I didn't know I need to do this," until it's too late. So, of course. I mean, like I said, it's all fixable, but at what cost?
Yes, yes, yeah. Well,
Right?
things like buying a property in your personal name that you should have set up a corp, and then you have to pay
Yeah.
transfer tax.
Or the people buying corp, or they opening the corp and they thought, oh, well, I not actually decide not to go this route. Like, I don't need my corp. I forgot about, but you have to do all this filing, right? Like, I just
Right, right.
think, yeah,
Or
like,
close corp, or yeah, right.
yeah. So that's like, there's a lot of little things to think about it. And that's fine. Like, people don't know, they don't know. You don't know what you don't know, right? Like,
Exactly,
that's
exactly.
normal.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So that's why they should go see a professional so that it gets set up right from the beginning. And they should
Exactly.
get
Yeah.
help.
So that's a
Yeah.
big challenge, I think, too. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So something that I always like to share with my listeners too is do you have any great books that you can recommend that you've read or you're reading?
Well, I like, yeah, I there's a few books here actually on the shelf too. So I like books about how to get your better organized, how to reach your goals, like all those like development kind of self-development books.
Right?
So I like this, like I'm sure you guys like read there and seen this one, right? The 12 weeks a year. Do you know this one? Oh, I'm trying to,
I have not read that, but I have
yeah.
heard about it. Yeah.
Well, it's basically talking about how you can focus and make your goals, like, you're achieving, basically looking not at the whole year, but at like a 12 weeks period, right? And they're talking about accountability partners, how it's important, and it's talking about how to measure where you are like every week, how is that important too, so you can basically achieve your goals faster. There's even like a guide there, like you can just kind of like like your exercise books, you can just write all your goals, you can do all this week by week. So it's interesting, it's very interesting to book to, and it's very easy to read, and it's kind of like more like a checklist or a guide. I think I like that because I'm an accountant. I don't like books with the stories too much. I
Yeah,
like to
yeah,
listen to
yeah.
your story when people go on stage and tell, but I mean the books I have to just, okay, tell me 1 2 3 4 5 what to do. So this is one of those books.
Okay.
um and also like a buy back your time. This is the another one I really like.
Okay. I'm just
Yeah, so this one is really like about delegations, and they give very, very good advices about how to run your business, like how to really run any business as a business, right? And
okay.
not just as a hobby. And I like to read more books about like to make my negotiation skills better in a way, right? Because we talk, well, we negotiate with everybody, right?
Right.
It's not just for business, it's not for my clients, it's not for my
Husband,
investors,
your
right?
children, your yeah.
Yeah, like from everybody. So I'm like, I mean, I'd like to know how to negotiate with my husband if I want something from him, right? Or my child, like so this one never split the difference.
Yes,
This is
I've read
one that
that.
I
It's a great,
really like to.
yeah.
But it's almost like not a Bible, but it's just like my book that I have to keep it here and always refer to that, right? It's like a guide. It's like a guide. It's like my tax, Canadian Tax Act book, where you always have to
Yeah.
refer and look for all this law, what's happening with old tax law. It's almost the same, right? Because I read once and then I'm like, okay, I got it, I understood. And then 1 week later, it's like, oh, what I forgot. So like, I mean, you always need to kind of reread and try to implement it right away. Like just
Right.
to, yeah. So every time I have to negotiate something, if I go and I was like, okay, what they said, you could do this, do that, like, like it helps. It
Right.
helps. It helps. Yeah. So I like that kind of books. Yeah. So those are my three on a shelf that I'm trying to reread and implement. Like those ones, like Buy Back Your Time. I just read it not long time ago, so I'm just trying to implement. So I'll let you know next time how it goes.
Okay. Perfect. Perfect.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. So it's kind of motivational in a way because you'll see like they give you really good steps, like what to do one after another, one by
Yeah,
one.
that's yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I keep a note with book recommendations, so I
Oh,
put
you put that in
that's
your
what
list.
I was putting them in my
Oh my God, my list is like never
I
ending
know.
list,
I
right?
know.
Somebody say, "Oh, I read this," and I add and add and add.
Yeah,
And it's
yeah,
like audible. You can listen to books too. I try, like I just harder for me. Like I'm very visual, so I like to like, see it, read it. If I'm
right.
listening and I'm not really paying attention, I guess. I don't
Well,
know.
especially if it's steps, right? Like you wanna, yeah, be able to envision the steps in your brain
Like
where
sometimes it's such an old, I don't know. I just want to take a note. It has to be in
yeah,
the pen and paper, not in the computer.
like
Because I don't
sticky
get it. Like I
notes,
just
tabs, yeah,
like all the, yeah, 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 yeah. So I have all my notebooks here. So if I'm taking, notes, it's all here. I remember this better, but everybody different. Everybody learn different ways. So
absolutely.
somebody may be listening better, but I have to read it. So
Yeah, yeah, I'm much like that too. I'm very visual. Yeah, and
yeah.
I love my sticky notes. I've got
Oh my
book
God. Yeah, those sticky
back.
notes. They're mine is everywhere. Like I have
Yeah.
so much thoughts. Like in my to organize my thoughts. I was like, okay, well, I have to do this. I have to all those sticky notes
Yes,
everywhere.
yes, I have the list ones too, right? The bigger whoops there, the bigger one.
Yeah. But you know what I do? I actually have little notebook in my purse. So every time I go somewhere and I have some thoughts in my mind, like I put it there or in my phone. There's like also like whatever the application called, you can put the notes there, right?
Yeah.
So if I think about something, I was like, oh, okay, some good ideas, some like
Yes, yes.
things
I text myself.
Oh, you text yourself? Oh my God,
Yes,
that's
yes.
amazing
And
too.
years ago, it's funny, we used to phone and leave ourselves a message.
Yes, right, right,
If we
right.
were at work, we would phone our house and leave a message as like a reminder,
I
right?
know. Or like some people writing like stuff on her hands. Like, I mean,
Yes, I did
there's
that
too
too.
much, too much high school kind of like
Yeah.
vibe.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, you
yeah,
do
but
what
I
you
like
have to
to.
do, right?
Yeah, well, sure. That's
Yeah, whatever works for
yeah. So,
yeah, yeah.
so
So, what recommendations can you give our listeners about accounting for real estate investing? Any
well, I'm afraid I'm gonna say, what is the answer to any question that accountant gonna tell you? Like, what is the most common answer? What is the most common answer to the question that
depends.
account? It depends. Exactly, exactly. So it depends,
Yeah.
right? I'm so afraid, or I have to give you a disclaimer right now, like, like I mean, it's hard to say because everybody in a different boats, like, everybody in a different uh part of their journeys, right? Like, I mean,
Right,
you have to
right.
really look at the whole picture, right? It's like almost impossible to give. What I want to tell is just get yourself an accountant who is real estate focused, investor focused accountant. Because what's happening a lot, I've seen lots of people comes to me and they say, oh, I had a very good accountant and we never had any issues, untimely, like very accurate, no issues. But now because we're doing this deal or that deal, and they're like, they don't know what to do. They don't know how to handle it. Or they handle it, and then after a while, they finding out, oh my God, they made a mistakes, not intentionally, but because this is just such a different industry. Like, real
Yes.
estate
A
investing and
specialty.
accounting,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
special, like it's a little specialization. Yeah, if you want. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would say just in the beginning of your journey, like it doesn't hurt to just get an accountant who is specialized, who's been there, who've been seen everything, the good, and the ugly and everything,
Right.
right? So in a real estate investing world. And also if this person is real estate investor himself, like it's kind of make it easier. I think we speak the same language.
Right. Right.
When I try to, like, I go on my professional development, we have to take professional development, right? Like all those seminars, and I talk to other accountants, and sometimes try to explain something. They don't understand, like, even though we speak the same accounting language, I find
Right.
that if we start talking about real estate,
Right.
we call exactly the same thing, but different words, so, different vocabulary. So, but because I know both sides, like I can talk to you real estate investing, and I can talk to my accounting, like, or like to my books with accounting,
Right. Right.
using accounting vocabulary. So it's easier to understand each other, from the beginning, basically. Yeah.
Right.
So find yourself a good accountant. That's, I think, uh, one suggestion, recommendations, and don't wait till you've done your project. Don't wait till you're like, you have many properties. Maybe have a little consultation in the beginning and say, listen, this is my goal. This is what I want to be. This is like, and it's not necessarily you're going to get there. Sometimes we start and we want to have 100 units, like 100, not units, 100 properties, whatever, right? And we
Right.
only end up with 3 or 4, like whatever. But at least this is what I'm trying to get. This is my situation, my personal situation, like I have this other businesses or something like that. And we can look at it and say, listen, this one maybe, I think you'd better for you to do like family trust or corporation or something else, like, right? But just giving you like, yeah. So just, I guess, have a conversation
Right.
in the beginning as early as possible, and sometimes it changes too, and sometimes like
Right.
in a few years we could say, well, now this is your situation, we have to do some sort of auto restructuring or change
Yeah.
something. So
Right.
that's
Or
fine.
yeah, maybe down the road set up a
Yeah.
family trust
And I
once.
find like everybody say, oh my God, like I'm gonna open the corporation. I'm just like, I'm a real estate investor, like, the new, like inspired real estate investor. They're like, okay, I, I'm getting my first property. I'm gonna have a corporation, the open corporation. Well, do you really need that? Like, what are your goals? Like, is that only one property you want? Like, what is your personal situation? Like, I mean, how much you're making? Do you have another job or not? What is your, like, there's so many questions, like it's hard to mention now. But yeah, so I said maybe don't follow like what everybody doing, right? And this, like, for accounting and taxation, like it's not like that. It doesn't work like this, right? So
Yep.
it's very individual, like, yeah.
Very.
So yeah, so I think that's my advice to our real estate investors.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then when you're doing your year end, just have a meeting with your accountant annually,
yeah.
right? To,
Mhm.
look at again, I guess, where you're
Oh
at.
yeah, like I mean, at the end, like we have to, like, of course, we're gonna, like, when it's time to do like your taxes or something, like that's where we're gonna, like, we have to sit down and talk about it. But sometimes it's kind of too late because you already opened the corporation, you already did this, that, like, like, and we have to, like I said, we have to fix that, and it's stressful, costly, and takes time, right? So, um, yeah, so that's that. And like people always ask him like, why I'm start like a chatting with you, say, okay, Jan, like what is your goal? Where you want to be in 5 years and 10 years? Like I ask you so many questions. Like, why are you asking so many questions? Like, I mean, we just here, I just want to buy this property. I don't even know, like, don't even think about, like, I'm not even thinking about it 10 years from now, right?
Right.
Right? Because
Right.
not everybody has a goals, like or long-term goals.
Yeah.
Are we trying to get the mind thinking and the mind going? Like, okay, what are possible scenario that you could have? So at least we can help you at our best abilities, right? So it's not necessarily going to happen because sometimes we wish for, have a million dollars and we only have 100, or opposite too possible, right? But at least we preparing ourselves. So yeah, and you know what? The other thing is too, I probably should mention that as well, is just don't wait till the year end to do all your bookkeeping or something. Yeah, like it's like just make sure you do it. If you do it yourself, sometimes it's not complicated, right? And people prefer to do it themselves. Do it every month. It's not as time consuming, it's not as stressful. If you do it last minute, and that means it leaves us less time to do what we need to do, your tax or something like that. And then if it's like a very busy period, we will be just charging you more. Like generally speaking, accountant,
Right.
like, so just do it, be prepared as much as possible. And if you do your bookkeeping like on a monthly, whatever basis, on a regular basis, you know where you stand, right? You know where you're going. You can even see yourself like, well, like, oh my God, there's something wrong here. Maybe I should change, adjust or whatever. So that's something else too I wanna mention.
Yeah, very good. Very good.
Yeah, and then like if they have maybe a JVs, right? Like lots of JVs says that you need to provide financial records to your investors.
Yeah.
What I find a lot is that people don't, I don't know, they don't read, well, of course they sign the GV, but they don't do it. And then and sometimes it could go very ugly. Like it's looks good until it start
It
looking
doesn't.
bad, right?
Yeah.
So
Right.
just
Right.
make sure you read your agreement. And if it says, well, you have to provide your financial statements done by, I don't know, CPA firm or whatever, or like something else by that date, like usually like it's like 3 months or whatever, then try your best to make this happen, because you
Right.
don't know, like you don't want to ruin your relationship with your investors,
Right.
right? And yeah, provide them like
Communication.
other thing that needs to be provided, because sometimes we need to provide some T slips, like those T5s and stuff like that. So just
Right.
make sure you do it on time too, because it's just like it looks like good on you, right? Like you're organized. I know what I'm doing. Yes, I know the acquisitions. I know what I'm buying. Like, I do my due diligence. But after the paperwork and like that, you have to show them the progress, financial statements and everything. It's kind of like I left behind until like 2 years, and then taxes are not done or something else, until like the bank
Yeah.
said, well, I need your, like, all those returns tomorrow, or we're not gonna, give you financing for like another property. That's another thing,
Right.
right? Like
Right. Yeah.
sometimes we wait last minute, like, and that could be personal taxes even, right? It could be other corporation that you have, other like agreement that you have, a JV agreement or whatever. And we wait and wait, and we want to acquire this particular project, deal, whatever. And then your lenders say, oh, but I need to see like your financials, like, right? Like, I mean, and we're like, ooh, it's like 3 years of staff or like whatever. Then, oh my God, Iouliia, please, we need it like tomorrow. Time
Yeah.
is ticking. And I mean, well, we're gonna try, but again, it's gonna cost you
Yeah.
money, time, and stress.
Yes.
Like, let's just avoid it altogether and do it right from the beginning. So,
Absolutely. Absolutely. I prefer to have a bookkeeper. I had a long meeting with her this morning
oh,
to
good for you.
keep everything, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
up to date and yeah, ongoing. And yeah, because you could have investors that you're supposed to report to, and maybe they're trying to close on another property and they need the statements, and you're like 3 months behind, and that's not going to go well, right?
yeah,
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So I just have to ask you,
yeah.
typically, and I mean, not to put things in a box, but typically accountants are very dry and very number oriented. And Iouliia is anything but that. Right?
Yeah.
Where do you get your energy from? And yeah, how do you mix
I
your
don't know. I don't know where I get my energy from. That's a good question. I think I was in my personality. I was born like that. And yeah, I get it all the time. People say, "Oh, are you a counter? Are you sure you're a counter?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm sure." You know, you want you want to see my ID. I don't know. Like I just feel like they always saying, accountants are boring, but we're not. I don't know. I just want to break that stereotype and say, no, we're not boring.
have.
We like to have fun. Like, look at me. You know me, right? So that's wrong. Like, that's just,
No, it is a stereotype. Not so much that they're boring, but they're very analytical, very
well, boring in a way, like analytical, yeah,
yeah,
they're just like serious, boring in terms of
numbers, numbers,
serious, right?
numbers.
So, yeah, 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 yeah. And I probably should be more serious. Well, I mean, I'm serious when it comes to like your finances. Yeah, of course, I'm
Oh
serious.
no, you shouldn't be more
But
serious.
I'm saying like
People love your energy.
I don't know when I get that. I just like it's my personality, and yeah, you're right. Like I get it all the time. Actually, that's the first thing that people tells me. Like, are you account? Are you sure? I said, yeah, I'm sure.
That's funny.
You
That's
should
funny.
see me at my CPA like conferences. I'm the one. Okay, let's take picture. Let's take selfie.
Selfies.
People like,
And they're like, what?
really? Like what? Like all my CPA fellows, they're like, she's crazy. Like, who is she? Like,
That's awesome. Spice up your accounting seminars. Yeah,
that's true. That's
that's
true.
awesome. That's awesome. Um, is there anything that you do like to start your day to get your energy flowing, or do you have any morning routines or evening routines or anything like that that
I'm changing my routines all the time. I tried to do 5 a.m. club,
yeah.
didn't work, didn't work. So now I'm kind of trying to 6 a.m. club,
Yes.
doing so I think it's gonna work well till winter when it get dirty, like when it's get like dark too
Yeah.
in the morning. But in terms of like routine, I like to be organized, and I like to, in the morning when I start my day, I already have a plan for a week, right? But then I
Right.
kind of like sitting again and I'm like, okay, well, this is my priority. This is like number one. If I do those two, like let's say like list is like 10 items, whatever. But if I do those two, I can feel comfortable. I feel good that my day like is complete, it went well, like I accomplished something, right? Because you can like 10, it's always something gonna happen. There's always like
Right.
there's like fires and like I put up, with
Yeah.
emergencies and like, especially when you have like a team and stuff like that, it just hard like and clients who need something last minute because tomorrow I
Yes.
need to give that to my lender.
Yes.
So yeah, so I always keep like I like scheduling too, like my calendar, like everything is scheduled. This is my thinking time, this is my focus time. I'm trying to do that a bit. This is my client meetings, even Saturday and Sunday, like I have to schedule my family in my schedule, like in my calendar. Okay, this
Yes.
you have
Yes.
this how you like it's just weird. They don't like that, but it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I write I write my list all the time, like what I have to do. Sometimes I even do it the day, like like the night before
Right.
like finish my day, and I'm like, okay, tomorrow I have to like focus on this and this and that, right? So when I'm in the morning, I don't have to think about it. I know exactly what I'm going to do. My weeks I'm planning on Sunday or Friday night, depending on what's happening. So like next week, I know what exactly we're going to be like doing. And I think when you have team again, like it's you need to do that. Like it's not just me, it's my team. But I mean, I'm talking about more like my whole day, not just like accounting or real estate, but if there's any other things I need to do for family, for other like for a house, then it's on that list and it's in my calendar block too.
Yes. Yes.
So that's been working well for so many, I would say years, I think, or I don't know, like months or years. Yeah. Stuff like that. I don't know what else do I have. I probably have something else. I just thought like this is just common sense. Like, how we are sometimes don't think it's going to be interesting for other people, but you really do it. Um,
But
I
not
try,
everybody does it, right?
sorry?
not everybody does it
Yeah, and
like that.
and
Yeah.
that's fine. Maybe they have a different ways of doing it. Like this is works for me, so right? Like not for
Yeah.
everybody. Yeah, so not for everybody. And like I try to exercise like every like well at least 3 times a week.
Hmm.
And I try different things. I try in the morning, I try at night, I try during the day. And I actually find that at night, sometimes I do it. It's easier for me. Like so I try do like some of the when I schedule my time, like, okay, well, in the evening I'm gonna exercise. So it's like, we'll finish this like, well, maybe after 7, like because we have another meeting after,
Right.
right? So
Right.
like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
like it's yeah, like 8 o'clock I'll go for it. In the summer, I like to go rollerblading, so I try to go outside as much as possible. Yeah, well, I think that's it. Like, what else do I do? It's a good question. I'm sure I do something else.
Yeah.
I'm taking notes. I always put my
Yeah.
thoughts down. So it's kind of like, I think it's kind of like a journaling, they call it, right? Like when you just
Right.
like
Right.
throw your thoughts down. Um, it's interesting. Sometimes I take my notebooks from like 5 years ago and looking at them. There's like everything I was thinking about. So I'm not throwing them out, but sometimes I do. Sometimes I keep them. Yeah, and just like I think that's most important for me. Just to have like a schedule. I really like I like to be scheduled. Like I
Yes.
like to plan everything. And I think it's because I'm an accountant, right? So maybe that's why too. Like even our vacation, when we go on vacation with family, like I like to kind of like know exactly what are we doing. And some people can't stand that. It's like, ugh. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna go with you.
Yeah.
But it's okay. I'm flexible enough. Like I'm very agile. So if something happens, I know like I can adjust and I'm flexible, right? So it's not the end of the world, but at least when you go on vacation with me, I'm not saying go on vacation with me, guys, but I mean like
Yeah.
oh, today we're doing this, tomorrow we're doing like I mean when I have my daughter was little, it was important because otherwise she get bored, she doesn't know what to do. Here is like, okay, we're going like 9 to 10, 10 to 11, 12 for here, then we're there. And if we have to adjust, we have to adjust.
Right.
That's just kind of my life. I'm trying to be more I think I'm too predictable. I don't know.
Right. Well, yeah, you can still be flexible, but I always say, like you can pack more in, right? If you're organized and you don't have
Yeah,
to take the time to stop and figure out, well, what should we do next and how far away is it or whatever it is, right? But
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah. No,
yeah,
I
yeah.
I I agree. I mean, you are on vacation, but you could always say, okay, it's raining or something, so we're not going to do that. We'll do what we were going to do tomorrow, or right?
Yeah, 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 yeah. But usually like there's no agenda day. Like there's always
Yes,
like agendas, right? Like so this. And
yes,
we try at one point we try kind of and that it was disaster location. So I was like, no, guys, I have to plan.
yeah,
And I'm usually the one in my family who plan everything, right? Like why?
right.
Because it's like one of them, like I know I have everything, and everybody who follows me, they don't even know like which hotel we staying, where we going, like,
Right. Right. That's awesome. Yeah,
Yeah,
planes and well, I think we're going to wrap up because we do have another meeting to get to. I
sure.
want to thank you so much, Iouliia, for being my guest tonight, bringing your energy, your expertise. It's just awesome. I love to be around you and your
Well,
energy.
thank you very much. I had such a good time, like it was just so, oh my God, I have so much energy just from talking. Like that's you said, when I take my energy, when I get my energy, because I talk to people.
From talking to other other real estate
Yeah,
investors. Me too. That's where
yeah,
I get
yeah,
my
yeah,
energy.
yeah, 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 of
Yeah.
course.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah,
awesome. Okay, well, I'm going to see you on our next call, I think. But
yeah.
again, thank you so much for joining tonight. Thank you to our listeners, and it's always a pleasure. And we'll see you on the next video. Have a good night,
Bye, thanks.
everybody.
Have a good evening. Bye bye.